So what I want to do next is talk about the 4 kinds of moats that I identified when we were at Morningstar and that I still think make sense today. The way we identified these was by going back about, would have been about 50 years of CompuStat data. And it was pretty simple, just looking at businesses that had maintained returns on capital above cost of capital for 15 years plus. It's not a huge data set. And then you basically say, what are the common characteristics of these businesses? What are the similarities of these businesses? And that's where we kind of teased out these 4 categories. And they've proven to work out pretty well. These are what we introduced the moat ratings at Morningstar in about 01. And so now we've had about 12, 15, 13 years. And the businesses we initially identified as being wide moat businesses that fell into these buckets have maintained higher returns on capital than their peers. So the empirical results seem to bear out the theory. First kind of intangible asset is a brand. And a brand is valuable if it either increases your willingness to pay or lowers your search costs. And this is really important. It's not just that it's well known. Because you think of, like, say, Sony. We've all heard of Sony, right? Sony is often ranked as one of the 20 most valuable brands on the planet by the Business Week brand week thingy that happens every year. But let me just do a quick survey in this room. How many of you would pay 20% more for a Sony DVD player? One hand? Any hands?
Maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Maybe 15 years ago. That's exactly it. And like right now, you do see like the Sony Bravia TVs getting a little bit of a price premium over others because it's newer. DVDs were newer. But consumer electronics is fast cycle stuff, right? What's new today is old next week. And so the fact that Sony is well known and we've heard a lot about it does not contribute one bit to its competitive advantage. In fact, I would argue Sony could probably save a heck of a lot of money by not advertising, or advertising very little. On Michigan Ave in Chicago, where I work, they have this super expensive flagship store with all kinds of cool stuff you can play with, and I'm sure they're paying God knows what in rent. Useless, because that brand doesn't change your behavior. By contrast, let's look at Tiffany. Tiffany will charge you 20% more for the exact same diamond that you can buy from Blue Nile or Zales or Helzberg or whoever you want. 20% is the value of that pale blue box. I can guarantee you the cardboard ain't that expensive, okay? But you know, as the giver of a diamond, that you'll probably get a bigger smile off the recipient if it's in a Tiffany box than if it's not in a Tiffany box. So they can charge it. And so that brand has value, right? That brand increases your willingness to pay. And there's value there. You also have brands that lower search costs. So think about Coca-Cola or Wrigley Gum. You don't pay a lot more for Coke versus Pepsi, but you know you like Coke, so you go there. You like Heinz, so you grab it off the shelf because you don't want to sit there and compare ketchup prices for 20 minutes before buying the ketchup. It's $3. My kids like ketchup. Let's go get the ketchup. We go through ketchup in vats at my house. I have twin 7-year-olds, and I think ketchup is like our 5th food group. It's ridiculous. So brands, again, a brand changes consumer behavior by increasing the willingness to pay or reducing the search cost, then it has value. Just being well known doesn't mean anything at all. Patents, obviously a patent is a legal monopoly, but they are subject to expiration, challenge, and piracy. And so you want to be very careful of a business. You see this a lot in like specialty pharmaceuticals, where you have one asset, one drug, driving all of your economic value. That patent gets challenged, you're dead. And last time I checked, patent lawyers drive really nice cars. And there's a reason for that, which is that patents are valuable to challenge. And so if they can be challenged, they will be challenged. So when you want to rely on patents as a moat when you have a portfolio of them, that it's hard to invalidate one or the other. Think of Qualcomm, think of ARM Holdings, where there's this huge portfolio of patents. And then finally, licenses and approvals. So you have a license to do something that is not many people can do, or an approval, that is a pretty solid economic moat. Casinos, not easy to get a casino license. You have 6 of them in Macau. That's it, they ain't giving out anymore. Landfills, no one likes to live near a landfill. So municipalities don't give out tons of landfill licenses because then nobody wants to live there. That reduces the tax base. So once you have a landfill or a gravel pit, you probably aren't going to get a whole lot more of them. Aircraft parts are the same thing, have to be FAA certified, and that's a huge moat in the aircraft parts industry. Most aircraft parts are sole source. They have one manufacturer who makes them, and so they get about a 40% margin on aftermarket. It's a beautiful business. If you're selling a brand, if you're a company, here's what you want to look for when you're looking at brand-based companies. Brands are valuable if they deliver a consistent or aspirational experience. Now, consistency lowers search costs and drives loyalty. So what you don't want to do is change the damn product. That's the stupidest thing possible. Remember New Coke? Idiotic. Schlitz. Schlitz used to be the second highest selling beer in the US, most volume in the US. Now, not so much, right? And the reason was they changed the way it was made. They changed the taste of Schlitz. Why would you do this? Recently I thought there was something like I think I was with the Heinz, or there was actually a ketchup that was going to lower the amount of sugar content. They were going to change the recipe. And you just go, stop. If people are buying this, why change it? Aspiration, by contrast, increases willingness to pay. So what you want to do is create scarcity and exclusivity. Very interesting example, Tiffany stores. Now, Tiffany is unique in that we think of it as a very expensive brand, but over 40% of their revenue comes from stuff that sells for under $200. Weird, right? You wouldn't think about that. And it's brilliant. I mean, they're one of the only companies that they can hit volume and hit high price. But here's how they do it. One of the ways they do it, by maintaining the brand. You would think that the stuff that drives 40% of your sales, that'd be at the front of the store, right? You want people to get easy access to that. No. Go into a Tiffany store. The cheap stuff is at the back. So the expensive stuff, the stuff that costs more than a Tesla, that's sitting in the front of the store, because that keeps the value of the brand up. That maintains an aura of exclusivity and scarcity, and so they keep the brand value up. Or Patek Philippe, very expensive watch brand. The slogan, which I love, you don't own a Patek Philippe, you take care of it for the next generation. I mean, what a great image, right, for those of us who can afford $50,000 watches. But it maintains that scarcity and exclusivity value.